Hey everybody, welcome to the Entrepreneur Power Hour. Today we talk about wrong again but stronger now, ways to get over adversity in your personal or business life. So we have Jennifer, Cindy, Chris, Carl, and Bill, and we're just going to start talking about ways to get over tough times, roadblocks, things that might be stopping you as an entrepreneur. So go ahead guys, floor is yours.
Yeah, I guess I'll start tonight. I've been through quite a bit as of late, and everybody knows I've been through some pretty tough times lately. But I think what keeps me going is knowing that I've got a purpose to do the show and to help people and get us out there as much as we can, as well as to keep my path so I can make a difference. I think that's the biggest thing for me is I know how many people rely on us, and I don't want to let anybody down. It keeps me going knowing that I have goals and I have desires that I want to manifest. And I think that when you have goals and you have desires that you want to achieve, then that makes it a lot easier when you encounter adversity, like losing money or losing someone you love, or something unexpected happens that kind of throws you off track, and you go down and you feel down. I think it's important to have a desire that's white hot. And that's what it's been for me. I want to succeed so bad that I'm not going to let anything ruin that, or I'm not going to let anything alter the course of that. And I think that's really important. What do you guys think?
I think it's good that you're staying strong and that you're determined, Chris, to keep going and reaching your goals no matter what you've been through. You keep going. That's making you strong. You keep going. You're not going to give up.
That's true. It's very important. Yeah. What about you, Cindy? How are you feeling?
Oh, I'm feeling good. Things are going better for me. They really are.
Good.
Uh, I had a really good day today.
Did you? Cool.
Yes, I went to the Catskill Animal Sanctuary and visited my turkey that I sponsored, Daisy. So I had a nice day, and then I went out for pizza.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then I had a couple of beers, and then I came home, got a few things done, and then relaxed. I was watching some Hallmark movies. I love Hallmark Christmas movies.
That's cool. So what do you do, Cindy, when you encounter adversity, like in what you're trying to achieve for being an entrepreneur? What are some things? What are some ways you've dealt with those kinds of issues?
Okay. Well, I've tried to just keep going and doing what I need to do to be successful, like learning my business, and I've tried to keep doing what I'm supposed to be doing and not letting other things get in my way. Being determined and just working on the computer and learning some things.
Yeah, cool. What about you, Jennifer? Anybody else chime in anytime, eh? You guys can just make sure you don't talk over each other, that's all.
Uh,
Hi, Jennifer.
how are you?
I'm
I
good. Go ahead.
working on the computer, and today I had a good day. I just didn't. I usually just work on the computer. I don't do much. I don't work, so I I have disability. So,
Right.
but I work on the computer, and I'm trying to um work on my groups and stuff, and I used to volunteer, so I don't right now. I'm not working. And
Where did you volunteer?
I volunteered at a assisted living.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
Assisted living?
Okay, okay. How long were you doing that?
3 years.
Oh yeah. Met a lot of good people doing that, I assume, eh?
Yeah, but when my mother died in May, I had to stop doing that. I couldn't. I didn't want to see anyone else die.
Yeah, that's understandable. That's
So,
understandable.
so right now I'm not volunteering anymore.
Okay, that's cool. How's it going, Bill? What about you? What are some things you've done to overcome adversity when you've been trying to achieve a goal or something you want? What are some things you've done?
Well, right now that's in right. Yeah, right now I'm in the middle of trying to deal with all of that and looking at my business or businesses and seeing where my desires are, what I want to do. I'm taking a hard look at what Napoleon Hill desires and some of those ideas, and also getting back to my understanding what I can, how I can, my businesses, what are the products available, and I'm doing a real hard study course on. Somebody gave me this manual. It's a cycle of duplication.
Nice.
They went through that. It was originally written by W. Todd Smith, but it can work for any business. And so I'm looking at that and starting to really get an understanding. I went to a meetup group the other day, and I just fumbled all over myself trying to get my product out, and so I'm going back and how to invite, get back to the basics. And so maybe I can't build it right at the moment, but I'm building my understanding, invite people, introduce your business, then determine their interest, gain a positive decision from them, and finally get how to get the new person started. So I'm taking a micro view at that, and in the process, what are my goals? What do I want? Financially, socially, and all of those other things, and starting to get a handle on that and write them down and put a date to them. So it's where I've had adversity, I haven't been getting any place, and so I'm going back to the basics to start over again, and that's what I'm doing with my adversity.
I think that's great, Bill, because sometimes when I'm having that issue, I have to start at step one when things aren't working out. Like today, I had an opt-in page I was trying to build, and I needed to put a link in there, but it kept freezing on me. So I had to redo the whole opt-in page. It took me like an hour and a half, which wasn't fun because it was something I planned to do for 10 minutes. But when things don't work out, sometimes, unfortunately, you have to start from square one, even if you've walked 10 steps. But you can't look at the fact that you've had to walk back 10 steps. You just start at number one and get to 10 again.
So start, like any good team, football team or whatever you want to call it, you've got to start with the basics. And this is a football, as Vince Lombardi used to start out the first meeting. Here's a football. This is a football. So that's where I'm getting started and redoing again. So
I like that because sometimes we're taught the wrong way, or you're throwing the football the wrong way, and you have to reassess. This is a football, this is a guitar, this is the way I'm going to do public speaking, whatever it is. Sometimes you have to go back to step one, and it's terrible, but if you don't go back to step one, you can't get back to 10, and you can't get to 100, metaphorically speaking.
that's right. So that's what I'm doing, and so I'm absorbing all of what you guys are going to be saying and seeing where I can fit in and how I can create that. And then I'm going to have a date night watching a movie with my wife tonight after this is over.
Right on. That sounds great. I actually have a date too I got to go to, so we're in the same boat tonight, Bill. But no, that's really great. And you have that business sense, Bill. Just keep coming on the show. And we got another thing we can talk to you about that we're doing as well. Once we're not broadcasting live, we can have a conversation with me, you, Kareem, and Marsha, and we can tell you some other stuff that we're doing. But you've got the right attitude, and you're a smart man, and you're reading Napoleon Hill, and you're learning how this all works. That's all you need to do. Just keep doing that, man. That's all you got to do, man. Just remain persistent, push yourself, and have that vision and saying, look, I don't care what it takes, I'm going to get there, because then you will, Bill. You will. We attract each other for a reason. You meet people in your life for a reason. So you met us we met you for a reason, and you're going to contribute a lot as it is. We want you here all the time because we need everybody's ideas and we need everybody's input to make this show a success. It's not just about me and Kareem. You know, it's about all the guests we have that come and contribute their knowledge and their expertise in certain areas that we may not know as much about as other people. So it's a really good thing you're doing, Bill. I'm really proud of you. That's awesome. That's so cool. It's really cool. Carl, we haven't heard from you yet. What's up, bro?
Well, I wanted to say a couple adversity things, if you wouldn't mind. Sometimes adversity is what you need to face in order to become successful. You said that.
Bill, can you mute? We're getting an echo from you, buddy. Do you know how to do that? Yeah, there he goes. Okay, go ahead, Carl. Sorry.
Sometimes adversity is what you need to face in order to become successful. Do you know who said that? He's very famous.
Oh, there's a lot of people that have said that.
Zig Ziglar.
Oh, it is, Carl?
Zig Ziglar.
There you go. Look at Carl, the full wisdom tonight.
Getting over a painful experience is much like crossing the monkey bars. You have to let go at some point in order to move forward. And I believe with all my heart that in order to become better than what you are, I believe that if you become better... Am I muted out? Okay, hold on.
I hear you.
I hear you, Carl. Keep going.
I hear you, Carl. I hear you.
In order to become better, we have to go through these adversities. Whether they're little tiny struggles of getting a video up, or whether it's getting a link in a certain place, or what have you, it's the same idea. We have to go through the adversity in order to get successful. I mean, if you make a mistake, you pick yourself back up, you try again, right? You don't sit there and say, well, I quit. I'm going to lay here, and I'm not going to get up. Now, if I would have done that so many years, I've fallen down and saying, I can't get back up. Instead of saying, no, that's not going to happen. I'm going to get back up if I have to crawl to the nearest point to get back up. So adversity has made me a stronger person. It's made me more determined to move mountains. In order to move mountains, however, you got to get that philosophy into your head that you can do it. And adversity will make you stronger every time. Because if you didn't have adversity, how would you even think about trying to become better? It's just like so many times I've backed a little tiny trailer around, you know, a little tiny utility trailer, 6-8 foot long with a little short car, you know, a little Chevy Chevette. And you can bet your bottom dollar that thing jackknifed over and over and over and over. But through adversity, I became so great at doing it that my mom, she doubted me one time. We was wanting to put a boat over, and her boyfriend had decided to get drunk and pass out. But at any rate, she looked at me and I looked at her. I says, you know, I can put that overboard. She says, no, you can't. I says, yes, I can. Watch me. So through all those jackknives of a Chevy Chevette and a little tiny utility trailer, I overcame that adversity. So there wasn't anything that can stop anybody in any business. As long as they have adversity, they're always going to strive to become better, to overcome that adversity. Just like Kareem today struggled for a long time, but he overcame that adversity. And that's one of the people that I know that recently just done it, and so many others overcome them. Just like when Rick gets out on a wave, I'm sure there's adversities when he has a big wave to ride, you know, or whatever, and the bump in the ride or something like that. But I just thought I'd bring that out to y'all. Thank you.
I always enjoy hearing your wisdom, Carl, because you bring a lot to the table, and you bring some things that I would never even think of. So it really, really helps everybody else when you talk about your stories, because I feel a lot better even when I'm down. And sometimes listening to your wisdom, I feel like I can get back up and go at it again. And yeah, I faced some tough times today with that opt-in page, but now I have an awesome way to help people. I have an awesome way to get a message out. So yeah, you just got to keep going at it. And I even gave a speech at my Toastmasters to tell people that every expert was once a beginner. So don't expect to go into anything, and literally I mean anything, and not stumble, even learning how to walk, even learning how to talk. Don't expect, I mean, obviously maybe after 20 years I'd say I have it, but does everybody, necessarily have that same ability? I mean, we have thousands of skills, and we know that, so it's hard to actually find, in a way, sorry, I'm getting over a cold. It's hard to actually find your own worth if you're so busy comparing and you're so busy worrying about the times you fell over instead of the times you got back up again. That's what counts.
Hey, when the going gets tough, Kareem, the tough get going. What does that tell you in just that one saying alone? When the going gets tough, the tough get going. Because if they didn't get going, they would lay there and say, I quit, I quit. No, no, no. Don't do quit. Quit don't work.
Well,
Stay where you are.
yeah, nobody remembers the guys who didn't get going. Actually, most of the people who didn't get going are not in history books. You don't see anybody in a history book that said, oh, here's the guy under Mark Zuckerberg. He said Facebook won't work. Here's the guy under Henry Ford. He said it won't work. Nobody knows who those people are. Nobody even cares. Edison, you can't do it. There's 1,000 people who probably said that. There's one of him that said, okay, the going stuff, I'm at 99 or 999 failures. I'm going to give it just one more shot. Just one more shot.
Well, speaking of shots, how many times was it that Michael Jordan got cut from teams, missed his shots, right on star times when he should have been able to sink it, but he didn't sink it, and they lost the game. What about all those adversities he overcame to become one of the greatest of all time? What about that? It's just like, I know that Chris gets into Ric Flair. Well, Ric Flair did the same thing. To be the best, you have to beat the best. Well, in the world today, to be the best, you got to learn from the best and mastermind with the best. And I believe we have the best sitting right here in front of us. Just need to just fine-tune it just a little bit.
Yeah, I like that southern accent, all y'all. But yeah, I mean,
All y'all.
I don't want to keep preaching, but we do really have a lot. We have had tons of people, all different backgrounds, all different ideas, different belief systems, structures, and they all bring something new to the table. It's all really good. I can't say there's been one guest that I didn't enjoy. And speaking of that, I'd like to hear more from you guys. Definitely, if you have any insights, Jen or Rick and Cheryl or Bill, I'd love to hear them.
Yeah, please, somebody go. Somebody else. Cheryl, is Rick with you?
Yes, he's washing some dishes.
I get it. I'm going to call you out, Cheryl. I'm going to call you out, Cheryl, tonight.
Are the dishes part of the adversity?
What adversities have you faced in a ball of yarn? What adversities have you faced in a ball of yarn there, young lady? What adversities have you faced in your crafts that you had to tear it all back apart and start over? I'm calling you right out there, young lady.
He's asking you, Cheryl.
Yeah, he's not. That's the wrong young lady there.
Well, he's not quite a young lady, but at any point of the action.
She had to live with me for 27 years. There's adversity for you.
You probably
I
got a
drag her
point
halfway
there.
around the world and back.
You got a point there, I'm sure. Like what
That's where
adversity?
she had to overcome a lot of adversity in her life. Yeah.
What adversities do
I
you
guess,
see you
I guess,
overcome?
I guess
Sorry.
the biggest adversity probably was when Rick got hit by lightning. That
I should think
was,
so.
yeah, it was pretty bad. He didn't know me. He didn't know a lot of stuff, and it just wiped him out. And so, of course, his income, you know, went along with his memory and everything else. So, going from just a regular housewife that was homeschooling my daughter full time and everything to Rick being pretty sick, that was some adversity, but we made it through, and we just took each day at a time, and we just stuck by each other and just kept on going. There's not much else you can do. You just have to keep at it and try to keep a good attitude. That kind of is hard sometimes, but you just gotta work each day through as you go.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Wow. Thanks,
I'm
Sharon. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Cree.
Yeah, I had an interesting thing happen. Like, those of you who don't know me, I play music, and without getting like the specific music, they were talking about they needed a singer, and the genre we have is kind of hard to find a singer, especially in our area. There's not a ton of people, and eventually I got a message from a couple guitarists said, "Why don't you learn how to scream, learn how to sing, and then we can actually have a vocalist?" And I said, "I don't know how to do that, but I'll figure it out." And I have a cold right now, but they still want me to do it. So in overcoming adversity, I'm trying to learn this thing, and I keep coughing, and I keep trying to figure it out, and I'm getting better slowly, but it's something I've never done before. So a big thing about adversity is sometimes somebody will ask you to do a task you've never done before. You have no idea how to do it. I know Carl was saying, I think, something about like something car oriented, or learning how to do like repairs on his car, and someone just throws you in and says, "Here, figure it out." And that's happened to me in the IT world too. And you just have to sit there and take it, I would even say minute by minute, second by second, just figure out the task that you have no idea how to do. And through so much failure, you suddenly become an expert. And the funniest thing I hear from people then is, "Oh, that's interesting. You're really good at said thing. I don't think I could become good at it." And the concept they don't know is I was in their shoes at that point. And if they just take the second to jump in and fail a few times and take some criticism, they could be at the same level even I'm at, or exceed me. I'm done.
Well, one of the things, people were talking about adversity, and I know this might be a little off the subject, but one of the guys that I work with, a coworker, on Thursday night, he was over next door watching the football game, and his dog started barking real loud. So he went out to find out what was going on, and his house totally burned down. And nobody was in there, but talk about adversity. Wow, are we ready in case that happened? He got his shirt off his back, and he was able to rescue his photo album. That's all they got out of the house. So that opened up my eyes for what, that's really adversity that he and his family have to deal with. And so I found out a lot of things about, we went on the website and found out what people really need. And sure, it's cash, but it's also little things like these tote bags, boxes, so that when they get things donated, they can put it someplace. They get clothes for who, and just things you'd never think about. So that really opened my eyes, and taking pictures and getting your house in order so you know what you've got. So talking about adversity, that's a step that I didn't even really think about. And boy, what would you do if your whole house burned down? So there's some adversity there that he's facing as we speak now. So
And that really puts adversity into perspective. Because you see these people who say, I have adversity, and you ask them what happened. And it could be something as small as, oh, maybe I came to work late or something, or I had a rough day at the office. But when you lose your house, or you lose a family member, or you lose something really precious, it puts in perspective what you think is adversity and what somebody else might be going through. And even times when I'm saying, oh, things are too tough, things are too difficult, and I see somebody else's situation, I'm not saying to use that as a crutch, as saying, I'm not that bad, so I shouldn't do anything. But use it as a way of focusing that I'm doing pretty good and I can continue to keep doing pretty good. And there's somebody else definitely in my shoes, or even worse off, that's trying to better themselves. I don't see why I can't better myself, and I'd say that goes for everybody here and everybody else. That I've seen people, maybe I have a friend who's really good at skateboarding, and he only has one arm. So if he can skateboard with that adversity, I don't see why I can't learn, different skills. So that I have two hands. So it just puts in perspective when you see somebody that's really working and really trying to make a difference who doesn't have all the advantages you have. There's no reason for you not to go it. That's why I don't make excuses.
And Bill was mentioning how he's in meetup groups and everything. So am I, and that he talks about his products, and he teaches people what he does and everything. I'm just confused. I'm not sure what I should be doing, because I get told, then that's like push-pull marketing. There's always these different marketing things, and that you're pitching, and then, like I'm trying attraction marketing, because I guess that brings people more to you than you going to them. And not saying that it's wrong what Bill's doing. I just hear so many different things about, oh, you sound like you're pitching or something like that. And I just bought Trevor Foster's program. It's traction marketing, and I'm going to be getting into that once I clean up my Facebook friends, decide who I talk to and who I don't. I'm just trying to get a little bit more organized. And then I want to I'll start looking at his program more. But the big thing I'm told about is that there's something called push-pull that attracts people, and then attraction marketing is what brings people to you. So I'm not sure when I'm out in meetup groups how much I should really say about what I'm doing. I mentioned it, but
to give you an idea with that, like with the Power Hour before, I used to send people like huge texts and emails, and I'm Kareem, I'm doing this, looking for people in the area, blah blah blah, and they all thought it was very pitchy, and they ran away. Then I would just casually tell people, hey, I'm doing this. You want to hang out with some fun people? Go ahead. And all of a sudden, I noticed people were interested, because I wasn't trying to pitch. I wasn't trying to get them on a business deal. I was just asking them to come hang out. Everybody seemed more receptive when you get to know them, you have fun, and you just bring them to a fun environment. They start to like you. Then I just let them know what I'm doing, and they seem to be excited. Were you trying to say something, Jen? I'm sorry if you got cut off.
I guess she wasn't. I don't know. But I was just going to say, too, about building relationships is one of the, that's what you're told to do, for build relationships. And that's what I try and do in the meetup groups.
Yeah, I have people who use meetup.com. They said they've gone to a lot of interesting meetings, and they met a lot of good people through that. So that's definitely a great way, I think, to make connections for whatever it is you might be up to.
Yeah, it sounds like a good program to use. I've never heard of it before.
Well, there's social groups. There's social groups, like different interest groups. That's what it is.
That sounds cool. We had Chrysler on here. What happened to him? He just disappeared.
Yeah, I think he may have fell off due to internet. So I guess there's adversity right there with your connection,
Yep.
because Doug couldn't join us. So sometimes adversity is in the form of internet, and you can't get on the show. So
Yeah.
regardless of that, though, I'd like to hear more from our guests, Carl, Rick, Cheryl, Bill.
Well, I just had adversity coming on the show. I clicked the link and it took me to my, and I don't know if you're familiar with that, but it just wouldn't work. So I had to copy and paste and put it into Google Chrome in order to come into the Google Hangout. So I had adversity just to get here tonight. And oftentimes the net will operate with you. You know, sometimes like you want to talk to someone on Skype, like I was talking to someone earlier, and every time I'd go to talk with them, I'd get about a couple seconds and they'd be gone. It was like something. So we decided just to chat back and forth. Not the same, obviously, but adversities is one of the things that if you didn't have them, what would you ever become stronger? You wouldn't know the difference. I mean, when I first started out, my daddy had me in the mud flats. And let me tell you what, when you're knee deep in the mud, you have to pull your boots out and keep them on your feet at the same time. That's a fun thing. In order to do it, you kind of have to bend your ankle so it breaks the suction of the mud. So at one point in time, I had adversity of I couldn't walk in the stuff. Dad would always say, "Oh, you can do it. Just keep trying. Just hang on to the boat. Dig around the boat. Okay, no problem." Next thing you know, I was venturing out and I was actually running in it. It was like, that's cool, because I learned the secret of breaking the suction by bending your ankle. Well, as time went on, obviously, I got older and I couldn't do it anymore. But I enjoyed the times that I had the adversity because it taught me a lot about myself and what I could actually do. And when you cash the worms in and you make $10, and you say, "Oh, I'm so proud of that. That's my first $10 I ever made." It's like, and I don't know if anybody's ever felt that feeling of making that first bill when you was younger, due to striving to become what you want to become, a person to help out like myself. I'm a people person. I love to help people. That's what I do best. Sometimes people say, "Well, you did that. That's rather foolish." But you know, all the people that, like Edison, creating the electricity, if he would have ever listened to them, we would not be visualizing, we would not have the juice, we would not have nothing. So he overcame adversity.
I like the feeling of all you have to do is see a little bit of success, or you have to feel like a little bit of success is coming your way. And if you can see that first stride that you make, like when you're running in the fields, if you can see that first goal that you can achieve, and you actually just achieve something small, I think even Frank Kern, who is an internet marketing genius, and I guess he made like $1 million in a day. Funny enough, he said the biggest breakthrough is when he made like his first $50. So, and for me, the biggest thing when I was playing instruments was just to learn that first chord, just to get that first guitar chord or get that first broadcast out there for the Power Hour. Then I knew I was going to keep doing it, and then I knew I was going to keep getting better at it every single time I did it. So just a matter of getting that little bit of success that you can see. It doesn't have to be the whole big picture, but if you can get one puzzle piece that shows you're going in the right direction, then that seems to be a good motivation for a lot of people to keep going in that direction. And that's why we do this every week.
That's just like my daddy. He's telling me well, if you can't go out in the mud and walk around in it, just hang on to the boat, dig around the boat. Isn't that the same idea? He put me into a smaller goal so I could become big enough to do the bigger goal. And that's what it's all about, isn't it? He allowed me to overcome that adversity. He says, "All right, well, this is how we will do it. If you can't walk that far, then don't go that far. Hang on to the boat. At least if you lose a boot, you can always pull it back on and get back the boat or whatever, you know. So it was always that adversity all through my life. Falling down, not knowing how I'm going to get back up. Like right now, if I fell down, I'd have to crawl across the floor. I've got a bed that's laid down, it's built up so I can crawl up it and onto the couch and get high enough to get into my chair. Because of ingenuity, creativity, or whatever you want to call it, one way or another, I will overcome the adversity. Whether it's a fall and don't know how to get back up, or whether it's a certain person that cuts me down or what have you, or uses me up. Because there's people of all kinds out there. They'll do anything they can to get their way out of it. And that's the one thing I do like about the Power Hour. We're not all out for any personal gain of ourselves. We're all out to help each other to mastermind what we want to become. And that's why I love where I am, or I wouldn't be here. Same as pay me what I'm worth. I wouldn't be there if it wasn't for something that I feel like I'm gaining out of it. Thank you.
Yeah, that's how it is, you know. That's how I feel too.
Yeah. No, it's definitely the point of this. And one thing I found is if you make a business, hang out and just say we're here to, see our sales. We're here to try and get these many people into here and to sign up these people in the program. I don't feel that's as effective as getting people together to mastermind and help each other out and say, I have these skills, I can help you here. You have these skills, you can help me here. I know this, I can help you do a website, you know how to play an instrument, I'd like to learn how to play an instrument. And we can all share each other's wisdom, and at the end of the day, we come around and we can see that not only can we get over adversity, but that we have a community of people that can help us get over that as well. So that's a huge driving factor of why I really like this and why I keep doing it.
That's why I keep coming. You know, I know we've got an audience that is growing. We've got people like Rick and Carl and Bill here and Cindy and Jennifer, and we've had David H. Paul on here. We've had all kinds of people. I mean, we can't let anybody down. Just say and decide to stop doing what we do. Hey, Rick, how's it going? You know, so I mean, I think that the more we do this, the better it's going to get. It's going to get bigger and bigger. It's like rolling a ball, you know, rolling up a snowball. You start off with like nothing, and you just keep adding to it, and it gets bigger and bigger. And that's called the snowball effect for a reason. So.
Yeah. I remember our first broadcast was pretty much just me and you.
What?
And they kind of looked, I was like, this is really goofy. I don't know if this is going to work. Two dudes sitting in a hangout talking to each other, asking questions back and forth. And it was kind of weird. And I eventually thought, do I really want to do this and spend time doing that? I don't know if anybody would go for this idea. But then we had one where like 2 or 3 people showed up. And I said, okay, well, if a couple people show up, I guess I'll keep going. And then one day I'm like, hey, Rick, want to hang out with some people, have some fun with some people? And I just kept talking to people. I just got more and more excited about it. I said, well, yeah, it started off. People can look at that, and I can say, we just started off, me and Chris, no website, no real actually direction with it, just a loosely based idea. And we created websites and like different aspects of it, written books about it. So it took it from an idea to really a powerful movement, if you want to think about that.
That's a form of adversity right there. You guys are just there, you and him. Isn't that adversity? You're saying, what am I doing this for? It's just me and Chris, man. What am I doing this for? That's adversity, but hanging in there, like there is a country song that when you're going through hell, just keep on going.
Yep.
You know, and it might have seemed like it was almost hell when it was just you and him together. It was saying, is this ever going to grow? Come on, be real.
Yeah.
And now all
We
of a sudden it's grown, and it's grown, and it's grown.
yeah, we actually thought that a couple times. It was like, you know, is this really gonna happen for us? I mean, it's just me and Kareem. You know, we freaking standing there like this. You know, like you know, come on. You know, it's
Yeah,
just
jump on
yeah.
our show. It's two dudes talking to each other on a hangout. Isn't that great? Well, and then people are thinking like, what's wrong with these people? But we actually just kept doing it.
Yeah.
And then everybody I approached liked the idea and said I have to keep doing it. It's not really an option anymore. And I know it can become, and the funny thing is I had to see it in them. And I'm
Yeah.
sure you've had this, like a coach or someone tells you have to see greatness in you before you can see it in yourself. It really is true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before other people see greatness in you, you have to see greatness in yourself. Yeah. That's what you meant.
So
The only
Hey,
trouble is with that is, sorry about that. The only trouble with that is with when I first started doing Audacity, I says, oh my God, what did I get myself into? 2 times? Really? 2 of these things? This is crazy.
Yeah, but you do
And
a
I'm
good
sitting
job.
there, like, the first one I ever did was like 7 hours. I says, what in the, why do I want to do this? And I gave it right back to Marsha. I says, what do I want to do this for? This is crazy. I'm putting in 8 hours to get. And then she showed me some shortcuts. She hung in there very persistently, like a tenacious pit bull.
That's
She was
Marsha.
not letting off until I learned.
That's Marsha.
And that's Marsha. And
Yeah,
that's why I love her so damn much, because she will not let go until you learn it.
Yeah.
And I just love her for that. There's no denying that.
Yeah.
Because she would not give up on me, because I had given up on myself over and over and over. Adversities. No, I can't handle it. Let me crawl back into my box. I can't handle this. And she says, yes, you can. I know you can. And so I had my adversities with Audacity. And now I've cut it down to I can do I'm a very particular person, so I can go through it in about 2 hours, and then I go back through it again, so I take about 4 now. When I was doing 7 or 8 just to go one time through it.
So could we say that you had some audacity with Audacity?
Yeah, I could go along with that notion. Thanks for the pun on words there, sir.
Hey, Rick laughed. Rick laughed, so it was good. I was like, I hate to be the guy when you make a joke and no one laughs. I'm like, because I know that happens with comedians. What do? Hey, it's a funny joke. Somebody should laugh, and then nobody does, and you're sitting there looking around. You're like, oh boy. But actually, Rick laughed, so I feel.
Did I not say that right? Or that's what people think when you can't get them to laugh. Did I not say that right?
Like,
what was it that I didn't say?
Like, hey, come on, that was good, right? Like, oh boy, somebody laugh. What's up, Rick?
Hey guys, how
all right,
you
Mr.
doing?
Rick, where's the adversity waves? Where's all the waves of adversity? Come on, bring it on.
I guess.
And I've had a life of adversity. You guys know that. I don't even like to talk about it that much. But I had my first job when I was 11, working in a car place on Corvairs. Carl, some of the older guys up that. I got 50 cents an hour, and I had my longest job being a surgical technician, a surgical assistant. And it was a very diverse profession, because I could be doing a total hip, and then in the next, as soon as we're done with that, I could be delivering a baby. And so in one day, I would see people, a new baby being born, and I'd see somebody die. You know, it was an amazing 25-year experience. But even though I had a job, I was very how would you say, creative about it. I only worked like 2 or 3 days a week, and then I took call all the time so I could surf and be with my family. So, and be an entrepreneur. And I've always made money other than like the profession that I've had. I haven't had a job for 10 years now. I've been in the wild. And like you'll see guys that have been in the wild for 10 years, don't have a job, don't really have a steady income. I mean, we live and breathe on adversity, you know, and I live in Hawaii. Most of you guys know, but other people watching the show might not. And we live on 3 acres in a rainforest, and we have a lot of fruit trees. And it's difficult to me. If we didn't have the internet here, it would be very difficult to make a living if you didn't have a job, because we do so many things to make money. We sell the fruit on the property. We do just so many things. Cheryl makes signs. But I really love this platform here and what these guys are doing, and I support them. They're a bunch of great guys, Chris and Kareem and Carl, Bill, and I appreciate what they're doing, and I really believe that this is they're like leading the pack, because this isn't really a place to pitch things, and you just be yourself, and if somebody's interested in what you're doing, they'll hook up with you. And I believe that, because if you look at the failure of network marketing and people on the internet, they're not failing doing this, getting to know people and then building relationships, but they are failing doing all the other shit.
I think they fail because they just pitch you. They're like, hey, want to join my company? I don't know you. Who are you? The random dude who sent a link. Do I even know if you're a real person? And, you know, I try and, you know, do different ways to make money as well. I make signs too, but generally people don't pay me for that. So, sometimes they're the signs, usually when someone cuts me off in traffic, and I won't do that here. But
no. You can't imagine already.
Yeah, I already said that was something I wasn't going to do on the show. But
slight vanity, that's all. We'll be all right with tomorrow morning.
I just want to say that I find me and Rick are basically, in a lot of ways, the same person. I really relate to Rick a lot, and he's helped me through a lot of the stuff, my personal stuff. I talk to him about a lot of things too, and Rick's been helping me a lot through this, and he's just, so is Kareem. You guys all have been there, but on different levels, you know. But I can talk to Rick about anything, you know. Nothing's taboo with that guy, so it's really cool, you know. So
yeah, I can feel that notion from him.
Yeah,
he's so modest.
I'm modest, Rick.
Oh, he's so modest. I mean, I was like in a tizzy when I met this guy. I couldn't relate to people for shit. He had this like color call thing where he's teaching people about personalities, and I met Chris Peters. I couldn't relate to people. I got hit by lightning. You know,
he didn't even know. Rick didn't even know. Rick didn't even know that was the person that was hosting the color personality call. He didn't even know that. He got on.
I figured it out when I came on the show.
Yeah.
I figured it out. I didn't even know. But Chris Peters helped me out a lot, how to relate to people, and he treated me, you know, like I wasn't a complete idiot, but I was. He knew all the colors and how to relate to people, and it really helped me. So if he's getting help from me, I don't know how the hell he is, but I got a lot of help from him, and that's what brought me to the show too. Both these guys,
he gets your energy.
Rick, you gotta stop. You gotta stop selling yourself short, man. I've learned so much from you too.
I have.
Yeah, like Rick, you're a genius when it comes to marketing. I mean, you're doing it. You're making money on the internet. You're successful. You're succeeding. You know, you bought yourself a piece of property in Hawaii. That's dope, man. That's so dope. Like I would love to own my own piece of land, just 5 or 6 acres, where I could have all my cats and dogs and whatever else I want. I mean, that's the life, bro. You live in Hawaii. Are you kidding?
That's just what you think, bro. That's just what you think. Let me school you a little bit here. I'm a millionaire, okay?
Yeah.
I became a
No.
millionaire last. All right, I own 3 properties in Hawaii, but you know how much money I have in my bank account? I have like 30. No, I have 21 freaking dollars in my bank account, but on paper I'm a millionaire. What
Yeah.
the hell is that? These
Jeez,
people make more money than me. I'm not on federal assistance or food stamps or any of that shit. I gotta go out and make my shit every day, but I got a bunch of pieces of paper that says I'm a millionaire. What a crock of crap, you know? Seriously, guys, never do it, dude. It's like insane. Like Soul says, it's a paradox. So I looked up what the hell is a paradox, you know? Oh my God. I mean, it like boggles my mind. I don't mean to sell myself short or anything like that. I just I don't like to talk about myself that much or what my situation is, but it's freaking bizarre, dude.
Yeah.
Like, it's weird. I have all the freedom that I want. I can do anything I want pretty much, but my gas tank is on empty. I'm eating fucking tortillas, excuse my language, that my wife made. I have a
That's
budget
fine.
of like $30 a week to eat. What the hell? Try that one for 2 people. Oh my God, it's like it's hilarious, really.
And that's
You know,
adversity
how
all by itself.
it's so weird. I mean, last week I found out that I owned 50,000 shares in a company that bottles real water. You know,
Wow,
owned them for 30 years or some 15, shall
that's
I say.
incredible.
But I thought the piece of paper was worthless. That I called the owner and he says, "No, dude." I'm like, "Okay, can I sell these?" He's like, "No, not right now." I'm like, "Okay, I want to." All right.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
Yeah,
how weird life is. Talk about adversity. Okay, there's adversity for you guys. Have you ever met a millionaire that has $21 in the bank and is struggling to feed himself and his wife every week? There's adversity for your ass.
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Chris
Man.
Peters? Chris
Yeah.
Peters?
Yeah.
What you got to say, Carl?
No, I got to admit that I get food stamps and government assistance. I can't deny it. So, but at any rate, I'm not able to work and do things. So, except for on here.
That's fine, buddy. Nothing wrong with that.
But I wanted to read
No, there's
another.
nothing wrong with that, Carl. I'm
I
not
wanted
saying
to
anything
read
wrong with
another
that.
couple. I wanted to read another couple things if you don't mind.
Sure.
Skies you share become lighthouses for other people who are headed to the same rocks you hit.
Mm.
The other one is the flower that blooms in adversity is the most rare and beautiful of all.
Wow. Yeah.
I just had to share that. I had looked these up for last week's broadcast, and I wanted to make sure I got them in for this week because I believe that even though Rick is not as, don't think he's quite that flower that's blooming and as rare as he is, but he's a rare breed. And so isn't his other half. And he don't see that because other people have to see that in you. Because you can't see that in yourself. That's why you need to open up that third eyeball and look, the third inner self, the third eye, and realize just how great you are.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Carl. I appreciate that. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. We've learned a lot from you, Rick. Man, don't you know? This is a good place for all of us to be. It's a good place.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, man.
Ain't not a problem. But you're worth more than that because you bring a lot to the plate. You say you don't, but you do. You do. If you didn't, you would not have as many people that are gathering and filling their wisdom bank with your wisdoms as I have and as the young people on here have. Maybe the older ones have already gone through some of the adversities and stuff, but the younger ones haven't gone through what we've gone through. So they learn from what we've been through for experiences, whether they're adversity or whether they're not adversity.
Yeah.
So that's where I go with that.
Very true. Very true. Yeah, I agree.
The
Kareem, are
strength
you?
is in us. The strength is in us.
Yeah,
It's just we got to take it out there.
we do. That's right.
And Bill, did you want to chime in there? I saw you.
Yeah, he was
Yeah,
on.
yeah. I keep thinking we all need adversity in order to get stronger. You know, if we didn't have something to go against, like friction, if we didn't have friction, we wouldn't be able to go anyplace. That's an adversity. And the only way we do get better is by facing adversity and finding a way to get through it or over it or under it or around it, whatever we have to do to deal with it. Because our life is full of adversity, and whatever we have to do, we become stronger because we go through it. It's the ones that say, sit on the couch and watch TV and say, "Oh, I don't want to deal with that." They don't go anyplace. And so we need adversity to become stronger people, and we all do. So that's my two bits on a little bit on adversity. I just thinking about it, and we all have to face it. It's all in our lives. So
Well said. It's well said. Yes, yes, Bill. That is well said. If we didn't have those adversities, just like the friction, just like you said, I can remember these friction cars that you pull them back and you let them go. I don't know if other people can remember them. It was almost like the wind-up toys that they used to have. Wind them up, watch them go. You know, something like that. The little tops or whatever. I can remember pushing up and down on a little top when I was a kid. Whoop, whoop, whoop. And watching it take off across the floor. But if I hadn't put that friction by pushing down on that, there wouldn't have been an action. It wouldn't have been a reaction. And that's what I like about this. We mastermind. We bounce things off each other. That's the best part of it. And I just love what you bring to the table, Bill. Keep it on.
I would even add to that. I would say the greater adversity you have, the bigger of a destiny or the more destiny you have. Because to prepare you for a great destiny, you have to have a lot of adversity. And think about, how do you get more physically fit? You got to go in the gym and feel pain, and then push up weights, and then you don't feel like doing it, and then get on the treadmill and run. So the whole way to create a more physically fit body is to go through adversity through lifting weights. And it's the same with any kind of exercise or any kind of learning experience. You got to fail a lot before you can succeed. But that's what differentiates somebody who's truly succeeding, can say it, and someone who gave up. Because if there was no adversity, there would be really no what's the word I'm looking for? There'd be really no glory in achieving what you set out to.
one other thing I just happened to pop into my mind when you're talking about that is I used to do a lot of downhill skiing when I was back in Idaho, and when I was first learning, I fell a lot, and then I got better, and then I started doing real well. But then I also realized that if I wasn't falling, I wasn't pushing myself. I wasn't getting any better. So unless you fail, you don't get any better. So failure has a lot of rewards to build you up, and you become better through failure.
Yeah. It's like when I'm trying to teach people how to get better with a computer, and they're like, well, Kareem, I really suck at this, or I'm not good. And I tell them, well, it's going to happen in the beginning. That's part of it. And I actually tried to learn to snowboard, which I think is similar to skiing. I haven't tried skiing myself. But then I kept falling and falling. I'm like, God, I'm really bad at this. I can't happen to stay up for more than 10 seconds. Should I give up? And they said, no, you're going to fall. Heck, I take even spills, and I've talked to guys who are doing it 10, 20 years. Take some pretty nasty spills snowboarding, even some that, you got to go get checked out. So if they're willing to fall to learn this skill, I figure I shouldn't be worrying about it. Yeah, I fell a couple times while snowboarding, but it was still fun.
Yeah. So Kareem, I gotta go pick up my date. Okay.
Alrighty.
I'll see everybody next week. Take care.
All right. Love you, man.
Love you. Later.
Fun.
Duh.
But I was just thinking about adversity when it comes to Rick. He had to all of a sudden be the surgeon when he only watched people. He hadn't actually done the task, but he'd only watched. That was kind of an adversity. I mean, he put himself out there on the limb to save a person's life. That's incredible.
Anybody would, Carl. It's just
Well, I
something
don't
you had
have
to
that
do.
kind of knowledge, so I wouldn't. But I mean, if I knew the knowledge, I would use the knowledge. But I didn't. Never watched it. Just like my dad used to work on cars, but you put me out there to do the same jobs he did. I don't know how to do it now.
Yeah.
He turned around and gave me a starter one time and said, "Put it on the truck." Put it on the truck. I said, "All right." I put it on the hood of the truck. No, I said, "Put it on the motor of the truck." It was quite defined on that one. He thought I took it as a joke. I mean. But well, he meant what he said. On the motor of the truck. So I made it. I took the adversity. I'd never done it in my life. Got out there, put it on, ran fine afterwards. So started right up, boom, boom, boom. But it was the idea that I was so scared that fear set in that I was going to do it wrong and someone was going to scream at me. Or whatever. That's a type of adversity too, really.
Yeah.
When you do something and then someone says, "Well, you didn't do that right," so it kind of makes you feel, lower than you are, right?
It can, but once you figure out how to put a starter on or whatever somebody tasks you with, after so much failure and you keep banging your head against the wall and you figure it out, then you feel a whole lot better. It's like an epiphany. And that's happened to me so many times at work where they give me a task, it's ambiguous, I don't know how to do it, I screw up a few times, they're like, "What's wrong with you?" You finally get it right and you're like, "Whoa, I didn't know I could do that. What else can I do?" And then you make it a habit. I'm going to jump into something I don't know now and then try it again. Keep trying it until I get it right. And then once you get things right, you suddenly become the expert. And at that point, you're not afraid to go and help other people. But the expert really is just someone who jumped into a situation. They didn't know how to do it. And I'd actually even say, Carl, like how Rick was saying, almost anybody, I feel like I would do it. Like if I was tasked with, okay, you have to save this person's life, and you really don't know what to do, but you figure it out at that point. You'd be like, okay, I got to save this person. What do I have to do? You don't have time to sit there and rationalize, well, I'll leave it off till tomorrow, like a lot of other things. You actually have to jump in, figure it out. Am I right?
And that's right. But just imagine if Rick would have done that when he was put on the scene. I think the person would have died. So.
Well, I had good training too, Carl. I was a combat medic in the Army, and I was a smart-ass punk kid, 19 years old, and I remember my first time in orthopedic surgery, the surgeon goes, "Who thinks they're going to be a doctor?" And I raised my hand like an idiot, and they bet on me. They bet that they could teach a monkey to do surgery, and I pinned a hip that day. It was like my first. I was a student still, and they drew a line on the person's leg because I didn't know where to cut the person. I'd never seen one. I only read it in a book. But I was brash enough and bold enough to think that, hey, if these guys could do it, even though I never saw it, I bet I could get through it. And I got through it, and I got through a lot of other things in my life that way just by throwing myself in there and failing. one of the major failures that I had in surgery, I handed the surgeon the wrong instrument, and we were doing a total knee replacement. And at first, like, my heart dropped to the ground because he used the instrument and cut the person's leg incorrectly. And my first thing was, holy crap, the guy's 45 years old. He'll never be able to walk again. Wait a minute, I told the surgeon, there's a reason for this. I want you to keep going with the surgery and see, put the trial knee on there and see what it did. Let's see what it does, because I felt like at the time, this is how cocky I am, Carl, I felt at the time that I didn't make mistakes and that there was a reason that this happened, okay? Now, what happened is it fixed a valgus deformity. Like, instead of, the guy had, like, what do you call this? Is that pigeon-toed or what, pro feet or whatever? Because I gave him the wrong instrument, it made the wrong cut and made the guy's foot go straight. So the orthopedic surgeon got to get credit for the first valgus deformity knee surgery fixing, and he got to write it up in the book and all that. So I remember that was one of my huge mistakes. I mean, evident ones where Ricky did the wrong thing, but it came out so good. Talk about adversity. Oh, my goodness.
I guess it wasn't the wrong thing after all. If it fixed him, I guess it wasn't the wrong thing, was it?
No, not that day.
That's interesting, though, because at first you're like, oh, I made a mistake. What am I going to do? And then all of a sudden, out of this mistake, you find that you've made a discovery no one else has done.
Yeah.
And the craziest thing is, a lot of entrepreneurs that I've read about, because I like to read about different ones, I think the creator of Google had like an idea to fax pizzas, and I'm thinking they're like, what the heck? Who thinks that's a good idea? And probably through failing through some of these crazy ideas. And I've had some crazy ideas too of network marketing and doing some things that now that I look back, I'm like, why did I do that? But through doing that, I met Chris, and then I finally got, we talked about this idea. So a lot of these times, adversity, when you go through something, you make that huge mistake, sometimes that mistake leads to your biggest success. And that's the funny part. That's why I tell people, don't give up, because maybe what you're doing now doesn't work, but you find out through trial and error something that works even better that you want to do.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with that. It's all in a choice, what we choose to do on a daily basis. We can choose to say that I'm going to lay in bed all day and I'm not going to get up and I'm not going to have any motivation and I'm not going to get, like today, I could have turned around. I walked, well, not walked, but I stood up 62 minutes today on my feet, moving, stretching, or whatever. And I increased it from 15 to 30 to 45, and now it's over 60. And it's my choice, because I choose to live by, I have another saying here, I choose to live by choice, not by chance, to make changes, not excuses, to be motivated, not manipulated, to be useful, not used, to excel, not compete. I choose self-esteem, not self-pity. I choose to listen to my inner voice, not the random opinion of others. And that's the problem with today's world. We allow the opinions of others to manipulate our mind. And it becomes another adversity, because people are very hurtful with their words. And I can always remember in school, I had acne pretty bad. I was called pizza face, and that was an adversity, because it made me feel less of what I wanted to be felt of. I felt really bad. I looked bad, so I felt bad. And that's not how it's supposed to be. So that's kind of an adversity inside yourself. When you have those people that say, oh, you can't do it. Well, when you know that if you apply yourself, you can do it. So that's something I thought I'd throw in as another sort of adversity of people manipulating or trying to change you, or you have to make a choice day by day by day. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, I love that story, Carl, because when I was in high school, junior high, I had a lazy eye. I actually had it for part of my adult life too. It never really was a big deal, but I always made it a big deal. I'm like, oh, she wasn't gonna date me. Must be my lazy eye. Oh, that guy. It was just like my scapegoat thing. Like anything you could find wrong with you. I didn't really have acne, so I was blaming the lazy eye, and I eventually did get it fixed. I always blame that, but funny enough, after having that surgery, I heard this famous speaker. I know you've been quoting some people. His name was Les Brown, and he was talking about some of the adversity he faced, and he was, I guess, diagnosed as mentally retarded, and he had failed a couple of grades in 5th and 4th grade. And then he was telling this story about how he had been in class one day, and then he went up to the teacher, and the teacher asked him to write something on the board, and he said, no, I can't do that. And the teacher said, why not? He said, well, because I was labeled educably mentally retarded or whatever. And he said, get up here and write it. He's like, I can't do it. And then the teacher, I guess, just turned around and said, like, stop. You're going to get there and write up. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. That's what so many people, I think, fail to choose. They hear somebody says, like, you're not able to do something, and then they let that opinion become, well, so-and-so said, or person A, B, and said, I can't do this. Even if it's a good friend or a family member, they start internalizing it, and they actually start to use that as a validation. Well, my brother, my uncle, my mom, my dad said I can't be successful. They're probably right. And that's where a lot of people go wrong.
I agree with you, Kareem. I think that's very wise in what you're saying. And I in my life, I worked in medicine for a long time, and I believe that they were sort of projecting diseases on people. Just in my opinion, they diagnosed me with tuberculosis, they diagnosed me with hepatitis C and HIV. I have none of those. I would not accept their diagnosis, no matter if they came with me with a positive. They came to me with a positive tuberculosis, a positive Hep C, and a positive HIV. I said it's a false positive, and I think a lot of medicine is that. You go to the doctor says, "Oh, you have high blood pressure." Well, shit, yeah, you're sitting in a doctor's office. I mean, they're trying to find something wrong. You don't feel good, I go in the doctor's office. I got high blood pressure. I look at how much I have to pay the jerk to look up the symptoms.
Yeah, I love that, and just like all those diagnoses they gave you can't be correct. For one, how do you get HIV positive? It makes no sense. But
well, how it goes. I mean.
But then they do become positive because thoughts are things, and so your mind and your body, right?
If you believe it, I don't know if it's all that way. I'm not saying it all is, but like if someone says, "Well, you're a jerk," you can accept it or not,
And then you eventually I think it comes down to, if you believe it, and then you internalize it, and you say, well, I'm a jerk, or I have this disease. Funny enough, you go out and acquire it, or you go out and be a jerk. Why? Because somebody, some random person, or someone related to you, unfortunately, may have told you were a jerk.
Here in Hawaii, they call it a spell, Kareem. Like if somebody tells you that, oh, Kareem's no good, then you accept it. It's called a spell. Or if somebody, just like witchcraft, if somebody tells you something that's not really true and then you own it, let's say, everybody around here calls it a spell. Oh, check out the spell. I don't know why they call it that. Because people will actually say something to another person and then they become it if they believe it. They can't.
Yeah.
Right, that's why I was trying to pick on Cheryl today about the balls of yarn. I have had such adversities out of balls of yarn. I'm telling you, trying to roll them from skein onto a ball. Get into knots, gotta cut the knots out. That's why I just had to rib you on that, because I'm sure you wound your balls of yarn in your day.
Oh, yeah, that's not bad. I'm a professional at getting those knots out.
Oh, I see how it is.
Nice.
The embroidery floss, that stuff will, get knots in it right and left, but, yep, I'm a professional at getting knots out, yeah. Absolutely.
Sounds like my cats
Yeah.
have had
So
some adversity too with the yarn ball.
Yeah, I'm sure
did
they
you see
they
my
found their balls.
I don't have
Oh,
any
sorry.
cats, by the
yeah,
way. I just wanted to make that joke.
Oh,
oh,
that's
there,
awesome.
see, I
Gratitude,
finished, you guys.
you haven't enough.
Yep, I just
Awesome.
finished painting it. I'm putting it up in my Etsy store. I like to make the hibiscus. They're pretty
Yeah, you
fun.
do a really great job.
Oh, thank you. It's fun.
Well, if it's
Yeah.
fun, then it's even more adventurous because you're actually having an adventure while you're creating.
Yep, yep. And now, thanks to class and everything, I have actually gone forth and started to sell them. And I made a Etsy store online. It's a craft store. And so I have a whole bunch of my signs up in there and some quilts and everything, and I'm starting to sell them. So that's pretty cool.
Well, it's pretty cool that empowered you to do that, Cheryl. That's the part that is so awesome. That you joining this program made you feel like, wow, I'm really worth something now. And I just love that part of that. It come out so good that way with you.
Yeah, I really have. I didn't have the what do you call it? The self-worth enough to actually go out and take my products out there enough. But now going through class and everything, I don't know. Well, you guys know something just clicks,
And I
and
know you just
I
clicked it. You just clicked that button. That's awesome.
yeah, yep. So I've been stocking up stuff, and I actually got my store. I've got a dozen things in there now, and I've got it open, and that's cool. You know, I couldn't do it before. I just what if, and what
That's
if, what if.
another form of adversity, young lady. That's another
Yeah,
form of adversity. Right?
yeah,
Because all that time you didn't think you could do it.
right,
And then it
right.
took this class to make you realize, you know what? I can. And so that was really great to see you being empowered to that degree where you're doing it. It's
Yep,
not it's not I will, you are doing it.
yep.
And that is powerful.
Yeah, we had the assignment and everything to go and talk to the people, and I got so enthused about it and everything. I just thought, well, I'm going for it. I can do that from home, and I can do it all online and everything. And so I did. I set it all up, and Rick helped me get all registered and did all that other good stuff, and working out good.
Rick's the man.
Yeah,
Man,
yeah.
awesome, Rick. I love it.
He had his pigs were banging at the gate down there, and they don't take no for an answer. If they're hungry, they're hungry. So he had
Oh,
to run.
persistent, huh? Persistent little ones, huh?
Well, it's the big one that's more persistent.
I want to eat
Jeez,
now.
jeez.
I want to
Yep,
eat now.
yep.
I'm not waiting. That reminds me of my. What? Sorry. That reminds me of my caregivers. They have this German Shepherd, and every time he gets hungry, he's taking his dish and it's a great big dish, and he's just mauling it, rolling it and mauling it all over. I want my food now, and he will keep right on going until he gets it. His name is Elroy. What a name for a dog, but
That's cute.
that's what he does. He's very persistent. I want my food. He knows when my giver or whatever is running around with the food on his four-wheeler, and he knows that if he don't get some action going, he might not be the first one waited on where he's the closest because they're going to wait on all the other ones that are further away. So he winds that bowl around and winds that bowl around. I want to eat.
They're smart.
Oh, yeah, they are. People don't give them enough credit for how smart they really are.
Nope, that's for sure. All the animals.
All the animals.
You're still alive?
I think
Yeah.
animals have the same senses in us.
Rick's
So-
back.
Same
Gnawing on
sense as a what?
No.
gnawing on sugar cane. Cane.
Alrighty, guys. Well, I had a lot of fun. I'd like to do some quick call to actions for our website, if that's okay.
Hey, knock yourself out, bro. Not really.
All right. Hey, I overcame the adversity of having a concussion and having a 3-hour hangout. Woo!
Hey, well, I could have said like the Munsters on the TV used to say, knock yourself dead. What?
Someone, yeah, and then someone, it's like, Carl, I took your, well, I guess I couldn't say, Carl, I took your advice. But maybe their family members like, hey, I was listening to Carl Davis. You killed my relative. Alrighty, guys. So, pretty simple. Can everyone see my screen?
Yep.
Okay. If you go to the entrepreneurpowerhour.com, how it's spelled, the Entrepreneur and Power Hour, all one word, .com, and just come in here and put in your first name, your email address, click sign me up. You can get a newsletter. It'll explain what we're talking about. It'll have an intro trailer as well. And it's just one newsletter once per week. I'm not going to send you like 100 things in your email. I don't do even autoresponders. I just send it through email and here. Now, here's what's coming up in the near future. This is what I'm working on, so I'll give you a quick preview of this. I think I did it before. This is my membership website. It's not completely launched yet because I haven't put all the content I want on it. But the idea is to educate, to connect people, and to give them really, really good content. So through the education, the connection, and the teaching, they can become more effective at whatever it is they're doing. And it's a membership website. It looks like a WordPress website. I'm going to zoom into here and show you just a brief idea of what I'm trying to accomplish. So when it first loads up, you'll see a dashboard with a video that explains what it's about, but since I'm here, we'll skip that. And if you go to profile, this is an idea I got similar to Facebook. Everybody has their own profile, right? So if we just view my profile, what does it consist of? Well, it consists of what I do, my Facebook, my Twitter, do I have a job, do I have a business, how long have I been doing it, what type of entrepreneurial experience am I looking for, who could I get mentored by, those types of questions. 2 biggest obstacles, personality traits. Also, it shows a location, and it's basically like a small version of Facebook. You can also, on this, I put some you can have an activity. That's like your Facebook feed or your wall. If you want to just say like, hey, you know, I had a ham sandwich today. I'm feeling good. Whatever comes up to you, you can say that. You can friend people on here. You can have your friends activity. You can see that, and you can see all the activity that has gone on. You can have friends on here, groups. Sorry. There's a lounge. You can also have mentions, and you can follow people. And I'm working on a small thing for a gallery, which I'm just trying to get that up, and that's coming soon. I'm actually working on that, but the gallery is going to actually have some motivational stuff, some motivational pictures and things. I was trying to think of what else I could add. So until I can create that new album, I'm still working on that. If you don't want to talk to somebody on here through mail or through the forums, you can also chat with them, which is a feature I really like. So there's just one person on here now. It's a test. But if I click their name, I can actually, it's not as fancy as Facebook where they have the actual pictures that you can talk, but you can still say hi, and it takes a second. What's up? And there's also uh, the content that I'm trying to put in here, the interviews, the best things of the Power Hour, our best broadcasts. I also want to do live training, and I want to give people a chance to get featured on Blog Talk Radio, Google Plus, and I have a boot camp idea coming up of videos to help somebody start from start to finish, the motivational and all of the technical skills they'll need to be an entrepreneur. When somebody signs on to here, you can actually find them by going to Find Entrepreneurs. And since my name starts with a K, just for the sake of time, we'll click on K. And sorry, my internet's a bit slow, but you can see Kareem pops up here. And then there's also private forums and a support page. And I'm pretty sure you guys know mostly how that works. So I'm looking to launch this in a couple of months once I get more content into it and once I get more stuff going. So that's that's about it. Also, I am doing if you have any ideas to make this better or any ideas that you'd like to see in there that you think might add some value, please let me know and I can definitely improve upon it. That's all I got. Do you guys have any last minute ideas, thoughts, comments, questions, insults?
Insults? What? Would we do that?
I don't know. Would you?
Not.
Or, yeah, if you have any improvements for that idea. I know I went through that really quickly, but I wanted to combine social media and training and different ideas together for that to really make an impact, not only on what we're doing here, but an impact to all entrepreneurs. Say someone can't get on the show, but they can get on that website and socialize with somebody. So.
Yeah, that's an adversity all by itself. Learning your website.
Well, yeah, but to me, I guess the last thing I'd say is I have fun doing it. So, yeah, it's an adversity initially when you don't know what you're doing. But if you have fun with what you do, even this is the one takeaway I'll do with the night. If you have fun with what you do, even if you face adversity, you'll still get through it because you're having fun. It just happens to be that adversity isn't everything, but sometimes, hey, if you're enjoying that, you can learn to even enjoy adversity. Like, oh, I have a problem on computer science. I'm going to learn how to fix it instead of getting mad and smashing the computer screen.
Oh, I've seen somebody that got upset because theirs didn't work right and punched it. Now they wish they didn't.
Yeah, and that's always the thing. I would say, yeah, don't smash your computer screen, but hey, if you enjoy what you're doing, when you encounter adversity, you'll get through it because it's all part of this experience.
Helen Keller said it. You know her?
Yes.
A happy life consists not in the absence, but in the mastery of hardships.
Yeah, I love that.
See what I'm saying? So it's being able to get to the adversities and be able to master them, to be able to do your very, very best on what you want.
Mm-hmm.
Strive to be a warrior and a scholar. There's another one. Be forged in fire and tempered by knowledge. If not, you will lack the courage to fight for your ideals or lack ideals worth fighting for. Adversity is like a strong wind. It tears away from us all but the things that cannot be torn, so that we see ourselves as we really are. Arthur Golden.
Wow. Yeah, you have quite a
little bit
lot.
of insights from my Pinterest board. I thought maybe you'd like it.
I like it. No, I like it a lot. Keep doing that. Actually, why don't you share that on Facebook or Twitter or something? That'd be really cool. So share that, Carl. Definitely, guys. I hope you can overcome adversity in whatever you're doing. If you have any suggestions for the site, membership site, or anything, do better on the broadcast, just message me, let me know. Other than that, have a good night, guys.
Yeah, love you guys. Thank you. Been a great show. I got a thumbs up.
Me too. Good night, guys.